What's up, you guys? Oh, yes. Today we're going to be talking about the flawed mindset that is probably slowing you down from the success that you want to have. Have you ever felt like the person that you aspire to be and the goals that you have just seem so far away from where you currently are right now? If that's the case, I'm going to be talking today about how that flawed way of thinking is actually slowing you down, slowing down the results, and ultimately destroying your attempt to be able to succeed today here on Elite Performance with Dr. Brown. What time it is? We're about to dive into this thing today. I want to provide some value for you and talk about what I have noticed is a flawed way of thinking. As a matter of fact, I used to think this way. So I want to ask you, have you ever felt like your goals, the things that you aspire to achieve, more importantly, the person that you aspire to become, the husband, the father, the man of faith, the business owner, the entrepreneur, do you feel like that person seems far removed from who you are now? Do you feel like that person just seems in a distant future, and it seems like very hard to either see or reach, and that you're striving to become that person? You're striving to be that person, but you don't feel like you're that person now. If that's the case, first of all, I know exactly how you feel, but I'm going to share with you today about how this way of thinking and how you can tweak the mindset so that you can actually accelerate results. And that's exactly what happened to me once I started seeing that I wasn't nearly as far away as I thought I was from who it was that I'd envisioned myself of being. But ultimately, this way of thinking will hurt you. It will slow down your results. It will be exhausting. It will be more stressful because you're constantly trying to be something that you innately feel that you're not. Okay. And so, I experienced this mindset in the past. And as a result of that, it was a struggle for me to be a better father, to be a better husband, because I saw myself as a poor father. I saw myself as a very imperfect husband. I saw myself extremely flawed originally in these areas, and that I was trying to be this great father. I was trying to be this great husband. I was trying to be in great shape, but I never saw myself in like that good of shape. I was trying to be this person that was close to God. I was trying to be successful in my career. I was trying to be a doctor. Like, these things were seemed extremely distant from me. So it was always a struggle to try and achieve to be something that I didn't ordinarily think that I was. I saw myself as very far removed, whether it was time or distance, but that I was in essence, a failure or an underachiever compared to or related to who it was that I was trying to become. And this is the reality that you have to come to understand. Is you got to understand this phrase. How you see yourself is how you will be yourself. Okay? How you see yourself, how you see your identity is how you will express yourself. So it's always going to be a struggle if you don't see yourself as the end, as having what you see as the end in mind. If you can't see yourself as that person, it's going to be hard for you to express and become and do the things that that person would do. So if you're always thinking about where you are and seeing yourself separate from it, it's going to be tough to actually be it. You will always express who it is that you see yourself to be. So if I see myself originally as a failure in business, and I'm trying to get started in business, trying to actually be successful is going to be extremely difficult because I ordinarily see myself, I already see myself as a failure, right? And so once you understand that how you see yourself is how you will be yourself, you then have to connect to what the end is. You have to believe before you see results, right? And so the difference in what I'm talking about is this: is ultimately many of us are trying to become something that we currently are not. That's the belief. That's the mindset. Is that we're trying to be something that we currently in our mind don't believe ourselves to be. Whereas the thing that we need to do is understand that we currently are. We actually currently are the people that we're trying to become. We've just yet to express it. See, there's a big difference in that. There's a difference between saying, you know what, I'm not, but I'm trying to become, as opposed to saying, like, I actually am, I've just yet to express it. See, when you say I am a great father, I've just yet to express it yet. You are basically saying I'm embodying the person that I'm trying to be. I'm not necessarily saying that I'm not it trying to become it. I'm saying I am it. I've just yet to express it, either because I've yet to learn the things, or I've yet to see how it works, or it just hasn't, the time just hasn't passed yet. But there is an inevitability to who it is that I will ultimately express myself as, but I'm just that person innately already. Big difference. And has a drastic effect on how you will see life, how you will see yourself. Because see, when we start off with this, I'm trying to be something that I'm not, but I'm trying to do everything I can to become that person. You're gonna stress yourself out whenever you keep realizing that you're not, you're not adding up to what it is or who it is that you're trying to be. You're not hitting the standard. As opposed to saying, you know what, I'm actually am it, but I've just yet to express it. See, I'm gonna give you several analogies today to make this really hit home. You see, you can't plant an apple seed, a small apple seed, and expect to get oranges. You see what I'm saying? We're trying to say, you know what, I'm an apple, but I'm gonna try to get, but I'm gonna plant this seed as an apple, but I really want to harvest watermelons. It can't happen. It's going to be extremely difficult to get some watermelon out of an apple tree. You have to believe that you are different in order to get different. Okay? So think about it this way. The caterpillar is the butterfly, right? The caterpillar is the butterfly. You cannot tell the caterpillar is not the butterfly. If you took the DNA of a caterpillar before it turns into a butterfly, you took that same DNA of the butterfly, once it turns to a butterfly, that's the same DNA. It is it. It has just yet to express its wings. So, see, you are already a butterfly as a father, as a husband, as a man of God, as a successful entrepreneur. You have just yet to express your successful wings, right? You think about a tadpole, you think about a frog. Guess what? That tadpole is a future frog. You can't tell that tadpole that ain't no future frog. That same DNA that's in that tadpole that looks nothing like a frog is the same thing that goes ribbit. Okay. And it was the same thing for me when I was looking to become a doctor. I saw myself as doctor before I ever got on the path. And so I have noticed that I have been the most successful in any area of life when I have come from the perspective of saying, I've just yet to express. I've just yet to express. And here's the magic behind this whole thing. And this is when I get really excited. Well, I'm gonna tell you why I'm gonna get really excited here in a second. But here's what you have to understand in order to really dive in on this. Is see, I didn't I didn't get this until I understood this idea. Is that there's a sequence of how things work in terms of going from your beliefs, the things that you believe, and then how it turns into results or how you express yourself. So your beliefs, how you see yourself, how you identify yourself are consistent with certain thoughts that you have and feelings and actions that will be consistent to the original belief. So if I believe that I am a successful person, I will have thoughts about doing business as a successful person. I will have good feelings, which are congruent with those thoughts, which will lead to actions to try and do business and ultimately lead into the results that tie back to the original belief. If I believe myself to be a great husband, well, then guess what? I'm going to have thoughts of doing things out of love for my wife. Those will actually have feelings consistent with the thoughts to be excited to actually be a good husband to my wife and have do that to that reinforces the actions that ultimately leads to me being a good husband, which again goes back to the original belief of me believing that I'm a husband. I mean, believing I'm a believing my husband, believing I'm a good husband. You can take that in any area of life, right? If I believe myself to be in shape, guess what? I'm going to have the thoughts of going to the gym, the feelings of good feelings about going to the gym, which will result in actions of going to the gym and result and ultimately lead back to the original belief that I had. So you have to understand this: belief happens before results. The belief of who your identity is has to happen before the results. And we're currently getting the results in life, in our lives, of how we ultimately believe and see ourselves. How we identify ourselves is how we're showing up in the world right now. Period. In the story, whether you realize it consciously or subconsciously. How you are showing up in the world is based on your internal identity, how you see yourself as a husband, as a father, as a man of faith, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as in your career. How you see yourself is how you be yourself. Okay. Now, here's the part I get extremely excited about is here's what's awesome. You were designed to be extraordinary and crush it in every area of life by God. You were designed originally to be phenomenal in every area of life anyway. The problem is, most of us have forgotten who we are and who we were created to be and how we were designed to live at a high level in every area of life, every single area of life. So I want you to think about this. God created Adam. Adam was made in his image. That was the original picture of how humanity is to be. He created Adam. God was in relationship with Adam. He said, I'm making you in my image. You got to wrap your brain around that, man. Adam was made in his image. This is how we were created, without fear, without self-doubt, without pain, without all of this stuff. You have to understand this, how you were originally created to win, to live in abundance. Many of us have forgotten that. The reason why we've forgotten that, or maybe never knew it, is because many of us have just not been in relationship with God to understand who it is that we truly, truly are. So I'm here to tell you and remind you of who it is God created you to be so that you can get the belief inside of you of the identity that you must understand so that you can express being the person that you believe to be. Listen, man, God didn't create us to be failures. If we're extensions of Him, why would He create us to be failures? The problem is we allow the world, we allow others to get into our brain. That's what happened when the serpent basically got in our heads and said, look, Satan said, look, you don't need all that. You don't need that relationship. You can go ahead and get with this tree. We just haven't mastered our mind yet. That's for another podcast episode. But just understand, here's the deal. You have to understand who we were originally created to be, who you were originally created to be, which is extraordinary, made in God's image. So if that's the case, you may see yourself as somebody who's not in shape. But the person who you really, really are is somebody who was designed and created to be in shape. And until you embrace being that person that you were originally created to be, you will realize that, okay, yes, I may not be expressing who it is that God created me to be, but at my core, that is who I am. You see, if I owned a Ferrari and it's in the garage, whether I drive it or not, don't make it any less of a Ferrari. Whether I get on the road and drive at 3 miles an hour or 5 miles an hour or 500 miles an hour, that sucker is still a Ferrari. Let me tell you this, whether you are expressing yourself as the Ferrari that you created to be, don't matter. All you got to understand is that you are the Ferrari. And yes, you will express it once you truly understand who it is that you are. You are not separate from that. Okay. So you got to understand the state with which we're coming from. It's like Adam. That's who he created us to be. I want you to think about it like this. It's like imagine a chicken coop with a bunch of chickens, and you got some eagles in there that have been growing up around chickens. Now, eagles have been meant to fly, but if they grown up around chickens all the time, guess what? These eagles gonna start thinking like, well, I'm not built to fly, right? They're just gonna kind of get the corn on the ground like the other chickens do, like everybody else does, but they were originally born to fly. And it's not until God says, hold on, whoa, 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 whoa. I didn't create you to be like this. I didn't create you to be a chicken. You are an eagle meant to fly. I'm here to remind you that God has said, no, 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 no. I didn't create you to struggle in every area of life. I didn't create you to struggle with your health. I didn't create you to struggle in your marriage. I didn't create you to struggle in your relationship with me. I did not create you to struggle in your wealth. I didn't create you to struggle. I created you to succeed. But you got to remember who it is that I've created you to be. If you don't know that, you don't know who it is who you really are, right? You're an eagle created to soar. Also, I want you to think about it this way. I'm a basketball fan. If Steph Curry, you talk about somebody like Steph Curry, I think we can all agree is a great shooter. He is a great shooter. If Steph Curry misses a shot, does that mean he's not a great shooter? If Steph Curry has an off night, does that mean he's not a great shooter? No, he is a great shooter. Period. End of story. Let me tell you, you are a phenomenal human being. You are a righteous person who happens to make bad decisions when it comes to your relationship with God, right? You were made righteous who happens to sin, who happens to make flawed decisions. But at the end of the day, you were created phenomenal. Period. End of story. And so we're not so much, we're not nearly as far away as we think we are from who we want to be, from who we were created to be. We just have to change our mindset in knowing, in doubling down on who it is who God says we are. You see, it's no different than a sculptor, somebody who's a sculptor. They start off with this big piece of rock, and underneath there is a masterpiece of art. There's a masterpiece of something. See, we may be covered up in a lot of rock and mess and stuff, but I'm telling you, underlying is the masterpiece. Is the masterpiece. It is in there. It is in you, whether you are expressing it or not. But you got to work with God. We have to work in connection, in combination with God to chip away the mess so that we can express who it is that He originally created to be. And so here's the goal, you guys. Here's the goal. The goal is this: you have to start to see yourself the way that God sees you. We have to start to see ourselves the way that God sees us. And when we do that, there will be no other way other than to eventually express who it is that we've designed to be. You are already designed to, you are already a great father. You are already a great husband. You are already a great man of God. Like, you are already a great entrepreneur. You are already in great health. We just made some bad decisions along the way. That's it. We've missed some shots. That's it. We haven't driven the Ferrari the way it was intended to drive. But now that we know what we got, it's time for us to really express who it is that we really, really are. All right. So I hope you take the challenge to realize who you are and remind yourself every day, this is who you are. Dude, yes, God has anointed us for greatness. Let our own belief system, and we let our own belief system hold us back. Yes, our BS system. You're right, belief system. We fail because of our own BS. You're right, man. I'm stealing that. Let me tell you something. Because it is reality. We have failed to remember who we are, or we are no ones that really reminded us who we are and how God sees us. If we started to see ourselves as a fraction of the way God sees us, it's a wrap. but that requires relationship. It requires relationship to know who you are with your original creator. Look, man, I'm excited. I'm excited for each and every person who hears this and applies this, because I can assure you every area of life changes when you understand what I'm talking about.